Hi, Joe Cerrone. Welcome to CAD 117 with our weekly Zoom meeting. This week we'll be going through Module 4. Module 4 has an architectural and a mechanical assignment. The architectural assignment is right here. It's this guest cottage. If we take a look at it, we can blow this up. And these are just base models. They're not real difficult to do. But what I like about the Tech 101 textbook is that it goes into things like dimension styles, dimension standards, and it ties those to architectural standards and mechanical standards. So if somebody says, hey, how come you did it this way? You can say, well, in my course for technical drawing, I'm following this standard. So it's just a little cabin, this would be on that Small House TV channel. Now they just build them out of trailers, I think. But you've got this living area, 18 feet by 15 feet with a bathroom and a closet. It's certainly a workable place if you've got a nice place up north or something like that. And so we're going to set this up. It's got windows located here, here, and here, and back here. As we go through and we take a look at how it's set up, you can set the limits for 48 by 38, and that would be feet, and a grid to 4 feet. So as we go through these drawing setups and things like that, you should start to be picking up on basically how to get started with it. And then as we draw this cottage plan, we just use regular line commands. And so we'll track a line out and then we'll offset it, based on those dimensions. And so if I were to go and look at my AutoCAD, here's the drawing. And then if we look at it in model space, and the way the textbook author works this exercise is that he comes back to it and revisits it every chapter and adds more. So in this chapter, he's just having us go through and draw it. But just as a quick review, if I turn on my grid and I turn on my snap, I can get a shortcut to those commands here on the snap settings button. And so my snap is set up at 6 inches. Grid spacing is at 4 inches. Polar tracking is on. Remember, when polar tracking is on, it has this green line, and then all you have to do is type in the value for how long you want that line to be. And then object snap. Remember, you want all your line geometry to be endpoint to endpoint, so that if it's a connected or joined geometry, we can model it and make 3D items out of it. So the setup looks good on this drawing, and that's what I would check. And then the layering is the other thing. I'm going to go to the wall layer, make that layer active, and then I'm going to turn off the dimension layer. There we go. There's really no difference between the light bulb and the sun anymore. Autodesk keeps all the commands from the beginning of AutoCAD, or at least these commands. And so the only difference is that it doesn't regenerate the display when it's frozen. And so it's a little bit faster, but we really have much faster computers than we used to have. And so just as an FYI, what that means. So I'm on the dimension layer. The dimension layer is going to be turned off, and I'm on the wall layer. And then if I were to go through and just rough in the way that I would draw this, I would just draw the line out from some set point, and I guess I'll go above it from here. And then you can see I get this line that tracks. And so when it's tracking, you can use what's called direct distance, which means you just type in the value. When we're working with architectural units, you have to put the foot mark on it. You don't have to put the inch mark because inches is the default. If we turn on the line weight, that'll look a little better on the screen. And then I can go up 15 feet, track over to the left, 18 feet, and then close it. And then as you go into the construction of it, these are just offsets. A shortcut to getting the doors in would be to use a door block. And so if I turn on the menu bar, and then it looks like the wall thickness, they're probably way too thin. It's a cottage. And I don't know if you guys ever been up in Lake County, but I used to work up there and I looked at houses in Lake Villa, and a lot of them were old cottages that were had it on. And so they were like this, where the wall thickness is only like 4 inches. And I believe that's what it is for this exercise. So I'm just going to make it that. If I'm wrong, we'll catch it later. And so you can go through and create that way, and then just use the trim command to just, zing it right through these. I kind of like the way they've improved it. And so while I'm in trim, you just hold the button down and they took that from SolidWorks, because you used to have to do a bunch of picking lines. So we'll hit that. And there we go. All right, and I'm not going to put all the other details in, but if you want to put a door in, the quickest way is to use a toolbar. So if you go to Tools, and it's actually under Palettes, and then you go to Tool Palettes, there's one that has doors and windows in it, and it's come up by default. It's the Architectural tab of the palettes. And if you go and you choose an imperial door, imperial meaning inches, you can just drag it onto the screen, and then you can click on that and put it onto a door layer. And then it has what's called a dynamic block. What dynamic blocks allow you to do is you can hit these control points and you can flip things around. And so you can flip it, you can size it. So if we wanted a 3-foot door, we could set it up like that. And then if I come back and I look at where the door is, the center of it is 2 feet 8 inches away from this wall over here. So I would just offset 2 feet 8, and then I would select the line and bring it over to this side. And then once I have the center of it, what I would do would be to set a line, and this would just be a construction line for me. Notice that when the O snap is on, or when the snap is on, it fights with me. Turn it off, and then use O snap to draw a line. And then what I'll do is I'll just switch and make a center line from the midpoint to grab onto it. Get rid of that. And then I'll move it to that point right there. And you get pretty fluid with it. You do a lot of right mouse, left mouse click stuff. It won't trim to a block. And so I will need to go and put in a couple more construction lines here. It doesn't matter what layer they're on. I just hit the space bar twice. Space bar works the same as enter. And then I can go and trim these. And then I can blow them out of here. And then I can tweak my door with these grips if I want to open it 90 degrees. And then the wall thickness is it's got a gap here, so you can pull that in. Looks like it's not really, there it is. That's the one. And so its default is a 6-inch. And then I guess I did lose my construction lines, but you know how to trim it. And so that's a quick way to put in a door. The windows you'll have to draw yourself. And so as we look at this exercise, it just walks you through creating a basic floor plan, creating the windows, and they're just 3 lines, and then you'll drop them in place. You can add the text fonts. A good font to use in AutoCAD is a font called City Blueprint. And so if you look at this and I go to properties on it, let's see, it's on the correct layer. It's on the style of standard. And the way you read these style sheets is you go to the annotate tab here, and then this is text, and here's where all the styles are located. The corner ones go into all the different options with text. And so if I'm going to use this text, they're using stylus, I guess Verdana. Stylus looks pretty nice, so I'll just leave that. But City Blueprint is also another one that's pretty good. And so a lot of times if you want one that looks like handwritten lettering, because there is sort of an artistic look to architectural drawings, then it would be there. And if I put something in here, there we go. So you can work with it like that. That's just a few things. And then as we take a look at our exercise here, very basic stuff. Offset for the closet, it has some shelves, and these dashed lines represent like the curtain rod or the closet rod. You can make, and then as we look at some of these other things, Ella and I like to do a lot of modeling. And so the first couple of projects we did were with models. So for next week, you're to do the architectural application for this assignment. And then if we take a look at our main splash page, there's a mechanical application for it also. And so you'll draw this, it's called a Geneva cam. And then this must be like a cam follower. And so if we look at that, that's also in the textbook. It just gives you good construction techniques, how to use arcs with tangent radius, and how to just create these. And so not a real difficult project. You can probably crank it out in 15 minutes. And same for the Geneva cam, maybe 20 on that as we look at that. But go ahead and do those. I can 3D print them for you. I have my 3D printer up and running today. Let's see if it's on, I'll show you. There it is. So I printed this project for one of the students. It's just a name badge. His name's Ralph. I'll be happy to print you guys one of your diorama or of your Geneva cams, whatever you want. We are a one-stop shop. We do everything. So the Geneva cam here is just some basic construction. And I like it, learn how to do some of the mechanical stuff, because, if you're in need of a part, you will have a 3D printer where you work. They're just really reasonably priced now. And I'll show you how to use those too. They're not that difficult. All right, 2 assignments, do them both. And then we have the lecture here. I'm not going to go through the lecture in the Zoom meeting. I'm already a little over my time. And then there's videos for how to do the labs. And so if we look at lab A, and this doesn't look like a YouTube because it usually says YouTube. So we did this on the D2L system. But again, we got you covered as far as to how to create these different labs. And so that's that one. And then if we go back to video tutorials, 4B, and it's probably the other mechanical part. And then if I come back one more, just to be sure. Yeah, there we go. So if you look at 4C, that is the architectural drawing lab. And you don't need to watch the videos. They're good if you want to sit down and kind of browse and go, how did you do that? How did you do that? You kind of research through them. I get analytics on my YouTube page, and so I can see how much time people really spend. Most people, they just browse through the videos nowadays. Okay, so that's our weekly class assignment. If we take a look at where we're at here, I want to make sure I'm in the right class because I think I'm in a different one here. Let me switch over to the other one. Nope, that was the right one. Okay, great. All right, so if you have any questions, I'll open up the Zoom meeting for that now, and I'm going to stop the recording and I'll post this. I'm going to try to stop it. Let's see here. There we go.